we just talked about the weight and the people's eating habits. I know for a number of years that we shopped at Lidl's, and what we found is that it was much shopping because it's not such big superstores. You are limited to what you've got. So it's actually some ways you become more economic. So it's not just about they're cheaper. I think because you have less choice, you've got less temptation. So I do think that the smaller stores and even the local community shops there is something in that way of shopping that can improve our budgets and our way of managing our money, and also the way we spend, because I think we have become quite a materialistic society, and once we see things, we want things. Maybe I'm just talking about myself.
It does seem,
globally.
But I'm renowned at the school for really looking for bargains, for never spending too much on a bottle of wine, and I try out there to teach people how to buy good value products, and I think that's why I'm really into, for example, Aldi, Lidl. They have their own products, their own brands, but they do actually have very good products. And I think it then enables us to at least have, because we are materialistic, because we still would like to enjoy a bottle of champagne if we could, then at least they've got one for £10, which is actually very good. So we can have the lifestyle that we might dream about at a reasonable price.
But I suppose the thing as well, I mean, for you know what wines and things you're looking at. For someone else that never purchases something would worry that it wasn't good enough and they were going to take it to dinner and someone would think badly of them. But actually, if it's a great wine or champagne,
indeed,
how would they know?
A blind tasting that I've recently organised between all champagnes, and we had big brands out there that I obviously will not talk about, but then we had supermarkets on brand. And Sainsbury's, for me, for example, was extraordinary. And then Aldi did extremely well in our panel. It came first. It was the light aperitif type that English palate wanted.
Whoa.
Perfect.
I think
tenner, what's not to like?
I think it comes back to that interesting bit about taking it and worrying about what other people think. A lot of, I think, the whole education system is about being okay with your own opinion, being okay with being different. And, I remember once going shopping with my sister, and I used to worry about the size, and she's quite a slim girl, and she kept trying them on, and she bought an 18. She goes, well, it didn't fit. She only got size 8. But I would never have bought a bigger size because I'd be worried. I used to worry about what that meant because I was a bigger size clothes. And I think it's all about this worrying about the Joneses, and actually it's being really clear what matters to you. Is it about the flavour? Is it about the taste? And if we're always buying by price alone, cheap or expensive, either way, to impress or to save money, I think we lose the sense of what the whole thing about being able to buy what you need and want in life is all about.
But do you find that at different ages, you might think one thing or another thing, or if you're different set of people, is that?
I think life throws lots of challenges at you, doesn't it? And I think we want and need different things through maybe if our children were younger, we were saying our priority perhaps is more family oriented. As we're getting into our years now, perhaps treating ourselves a little bit more now, because
you mean past 25?
Yeah, that's the one. That's what you meant. So I think that you have only so much money, don't you? And you have to make that work. But it always all come back down to what are your priorities, what really matters to you. And if you are buying things to please other people, you're going to be miserable anyway, whatever you do.
Yes.
So ultimately, trust yourself.
So tell us more about what it is that you do. What is a strength and solution detective?
Well, in essence, it's helping people to communicate from a place of solution and strength. Our brain is absolutely hardwired to look for danger. And as you can see from the press, they love talking about drama, what's going wrong, what's not working. And we're surrounded by that on a continual basis. But unfortunately, what that does is create fear. And when we're fearful, we don't communicate from the best point of view. So the idea is creating environments where these people practice talking about what they do want, what their strengths are, and operating and communicating in relationships and partnerships from that strength and solution focus, which takes practice. It's a bit like getting fit, because we're so used to perhaps whinging about what we don't want. So I take people through a process of getting really clear about what they want, helping them understand how they work at their best so they can be really efficient and really effective, because again, if you're trying to work like other people, you'll probably come a cropper because nobody's like you. And then how do you communicate to other people when we're trying different personalities earlier? People do think differently. We all want everyone to think like us because it would make life simpler, but actually they don't. So how can you allow yourself to be you and them to be them and still work in partnership effectively? And that's really what I take people through a process to unravel why it's not working.
So how do you know that there's any success from where they were and perhaps needing some communication skills or help in the way that they looked at stuff to where they end up? How do you know that there is any success?
The kind of success stories actually are probably hearing people saying, I said no, that doesn't work for me, that's not how I work, or no, that's great if that works for you, that's not for me. So people allowing other people to be different, not saying no. It's almost like they try and convince other people to become like them so their way is okay. But it's what my success is when they accept, oh, you do it like that and I do it like this. Oh, and that's okay because we're both going to do it our own unique way, rather than trying to convince the other person, you know, food, whatever, spending. It's always like you're trying to convince everybody that your way is the right way to reassure yourself. So I suppose the success for me is when people have that real acceptance and go, I made a decision today, I trusted myself, and when someone challenged me, I went, no, that's not how I want. I don't want to do it that way.
But without being aggressive,
yeah.
Sometimes people with communication, not difficulties, but they go from one extreme to the other.
Absolutely, they go from really passive. I think the expression someone called me at once was passive aggressive. It's like when you're starting to get that timid mouse out and you want to tell people it's not okay, you can go right to the other end and go, rah! It's like, don't want to do that. So it is, how do you be assertive from a really caring perspective? And the only way I know how to do that is to train your inner strength, so you know and have confidence in yourself, and that you've got compassion for the other people doing it differently.
Well, I agree with you when you talked about being so assertive and believing that what you are or what you're doing is actually right for you, not maybe for others, but right for you. Because now I feel like I'm in my best years because I suddenly feel like, you know what, if you don't like the way I'm doing things, well, tough, but at the end of the day, that's me. Accept me for who I am and how I do or say things. And if you do, then great. I think we can have a great relationship or partnership or collaboration. And if it's not, if I'm not for you, then that's fine too. And I think we need to accept our, ourselves first as well before others can accept us.
Absolutely. I imagine that we all fit together in some way. The whole world does. But like a big jigsaw piece, maybe I'm about 20 pieces from you. We're still part of the same system, but it doesn't mean we have to be closely connected. Not everybody fits together well. Not everybody works together well. However, I do think you do need a very good, strong network around you, both at home and work.
Now we're going to quickly talk about why slow walkers could be heading for an early grave. Now this is a really interesting one. Please don't take it as fact, but it is in the Daily Telegraph, and we all find this hilarious because I'll just read it quickly to you. But it's basically saying that walking slowly in middle age is a better predictor of early death than smoking, and scientists have apparently found this out, and they believe a slow gait shows major underlying health problems, and so you can read about that and can tell when they're likely to die. So
I would have heard everything now. I just feel that in my life now.
I think I've just read that differently now, though. I think what they're saying is if they only walk slowly, that's an indicator that they're unhealthy. So maybe it's a case of if they can't walk fast. I wonder whether it's. I'm just hearing it different. When earlier we were laughing, thinking, oh my gosh, they're actually saying people who.
I think surely it's still better to walk, no matter at what speed. Surely it's still better to walk than smoke.
But maybe it's about saying if you cannot raise your heart rate up, you can't walk faster, that you should be concerned about your health.
Well, yes, but you would if you really couldn't. I'm not sure it is this. This is some experts warned it could induce hypochondria. Because, to hypochondria here, because if you can't walk very fast because of any limiting illnesses, you're getting a bit older or you're ill, then you don't really need a study to tell you that, do you? But if you just happen to walk slowly.
And I always think that physical in fitness has been one of the things I've just got really curious about in the last few months, or last 18 months actually. I was one of these people that didn't like pain, and so I would avoid exercise, and I think those sort of things stop people from trying to have a go at something, and it's just knowing your limit. Again, it's about knowing what's right for you and then stretching yourself. I think we have become very much like we haven't got time for it, it's going to hurt, what's the point? And I think we were designed to move as human beings, and so, but yeah, if they're not getting out there.
No.
They're trying to make a headline out of something, can't they?
Yes, and it's right on the. I was going to say the front. It is the front page.
I think that's the trouble with headlines and newspapers, and as we mentioned earlier, it's all about literally making an impact, and for you to suddenly be scared. The food, the veg and fruit price roaring article was actually not really about fruit and veg prices going up, but about immigration.
So that's it until we're with you next. If you've got any news that you want to share that we should be talking about, then send us an email and talk@thatsolent.com, or you can send us a tweet at thatsolenttv.
Whatever you pack.